Welcome back to our channel World of Coins, the place where we uncover hidden treasures in your coin collection. Have you ever wondered if that old coins could be worth thousands or even millions? Well, today's your lucky day. We're diving into some of the rarest and most valuable US coins that might be sitting right under your nose. Let's jump in and see if you've got a fortune waiting to be discovered. Top 1. Every so often, tucked away in forgotten coin jars, dusty drawers, or passed casually from hand to hand in everyday transactions, a simple coin holds a story far greater than its face value. One such story lies within the 1973 United States Washington quarter dollar, a coin that, on the surface, seems ordinary. But for those who know where to look, this piece of American currency reveals a fascinating legacy of design, history, and hidden treasure. And for the lucky few who possess a pristine version, its value can be nothing short of jaw-dropping. To truly appreciate the 1973 Washington quarter, we need to rewind to the early 1930s, when the design first came to life. Created to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the quarter-dollar coin underwent a remarkable transformation. Before this, the standing Liberty quarter had graced the reverse of U.S. coinage, but by 1932, a new icon was needed. Sculptor John Flanagan's portrait of the nation's first president was chosen, strong, classical, and stoic. This image became the face of American small change, and the Washington quarter has carried that legacy for generations. Now, fast forward to the early 1970s. America was deep in transformation, politically, socially, and economically. From the aftermath of the Vietnam War to the rise of space exploration, every detail of life was changing. And yet, amid all that change, the Washington quarter remained consistent. In 1973, the U.S. Mint produced millions of these coins across its three major facilities, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Most of them entered circulation immediately, clinking their way through cash registers and parking meters. And most of them, over time, were scratched, worn, and forgotten. But the beauty of coin collecting is that not every coin follows the same fate. Some coins were spared the daily grind. Some were tucked into mint sets, untouched by human hands, sealed in plastic and hidden in attics or safety deposit boxes. Others, by sheer chance, were struck so perfectly, so sharply, so symmetrically, that they became numismatic wonders. The 1973 Washington quarter is one of those coins that, when found in extraordinary condition, captures the imagination of collectors worldwide. At first glance, it looks like any other. But look closer, at the luster, the strike, the fields, and the devices. A perfect example will shine with brilliance, its surface is nearly reflective, and its details razor-sharp. George Washington's curls and collar, the delicate eagle feathers on the reverse, and the precise lettering, these elements must be flawless to capture the attention of serious collectors. But condition isn't the only factor. Rarity is key. While millions were minted, very few examples exist today in high mint state grades, especially coins with an MS-67 or higher designation from professional grading services. Why? Because coins from the 1970s weren't made with the same precision as later decades. The dies used in the minting process often wore down quickly, producing less than perfect strikes. Add in decades of handling, and what you're left with is a massive pool of common coins, and a precious few gems. These rare gems are what collectors dream of. And for a 1973 quarter in pristine, high-grade condition, the demand is real. When such coins are discovered, they often pass through the hands of dealers and collectors, each time increasing in value as their rarity becomes more widely recognized. Sometimes, they appear at major auctions, where bidding wars erupt over a single coin that once cost 25 cents. The story behind the coin also adds to its appeal. The 1973 quarter doesn't carry a special anniversary, no silver content, and no known major errors. And that's what makes it even more fascinating. It proves that even without dramatic minting mistakes or rare compositions, a coin can become legendary purely because of its preserved beauty, historical context, and collector demand. It's a testament to the power of detail and discipline, of collectors who understand what others overlook, and for those lucky enough to stumble upon one, perhaps handed to them in change, or rediscovered in an old roll of quarters, the discovery is exhilarating. That seemingly common quarter may just be the one coin that survived with perfection, hidden in plain sight for decades, waiting for the right eyes to notice. Over the years, a few standout examples of the 1973 Washington quarter have surfaced, shocking the numismatic world. These coins, perfectly preserved, magnificently struck, and certified by top-tier grading agencies, have sparked awe and envy among collectors. They've graced auction blocks under brilliant lighting, gleaming as experts marvel at the unlikely survival of such a coin in such stunning condition. And then comes the final, breathtaking moment. The auctioneer's hammer falls, and the value is sealed not in cents, not in dollars, but in something truly astonishing. One particular 1973 Washington quarter, preserved in exquisite condition with unmatched quality, once sold for an incredible $135,000. Top 2. In the world of coin collecting, sometimes the most astonishing treasures don't glitter with gold or shimmer with silver. Instead, they quietly pass through hands, jingling in pockets or dropped into vending machines, until one day, someone looks a little closer. Among these hidden gems is the 1979 Washington quarter dollar, a coin that may appear ordinary on the outside but, for those who know what to look for, can hold remarkable value and tell an unforgettable story. The Washington quarter has been a mainstay in American currency since 1932, when it was introduced to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. Sculptor John Flanagan's classic portrait of the nation's first president has adorned the obverse side of this coin for decades, becoming one of the most recognized images in American coinage history. But by 1979, something fascinating was happening in the world of coins. The United States was entering a new era. The economy was shifting, inflation was on the rise, and the mint was grappling with increasing demands for coins in circulation. It was also a time when the U.S. Mint began experimenting more rigorously with production quality, coin designs, and striking standards. This backdrop of change and transition is what makes the 1979 quarter especially intriguing for collectors. Minted at 3 different locations, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, the 1979 Washington quarter was produced by the millions. Most of these coins were immediately put into circulation and spent their lives in daily transactions, battered, scraped, and worn down through use. But a select few coins, struck under near-perfect conditions, managed to escape the rough fate of circulation. Some were stored in special mint sets, while others were saved by collectors who recognized their flawless beauty from the beginning. What makes a 1979 quarter so special isn't a minting error or a precious metal content, it's rarity and condition. You see, most quarters from that era were not handled with numismatic care. The coin presses ran fast and often wore down. Dies were overused. Quality control standards weren't what they are today. As a result, quarters from the late 1970s rarely appear in pristine, uncirculated condition with sharp detail and brilliant luster. That's why finding a 1979 Washington quarter in high mint state, especially at the grade of MS-67 or higher, is exceptionally rare. These coins exhibit flawless surfaces, razor-sharp features, and an unmistakable shine that sets them apart from the millions of average quarters out there. George Washington's profile, with every strand of hair clearly defined, and the reverse eagle standing bold and proud with detailed feathers and crisp lettering, is a sight to behold when preserved in such stunning quality. But the appeal doesn't stop with condition alone. There's also a collector's hunger for pieces that survived the odds. Because the 1979 quarter doesn't carry a special design, it's often overlooked. This makes it a sleeper coin, a hidden treasure that appears commonplace until its true rarity is revealed. And in the world of numismatics, those sleeper coins are often the most thrilling finds. Collectors and investors alike are constantly searching for these perfect specimens. When they appear at coin shows or auctions, they command attention. The bidding is fierce, the excitement palpable. Everyone wants a piece of a coin that defied the odds, a piece of American history that has been preserved through time with care and a little luck. That it's not just about owning a rare coin, it's about the story that coin tells. A story of how something so ordinary can become extraordinary. A story of how a coin struck in 1979, a year filled with political change, economic uncertainty, and cultural evolution, can become a symbol of timeless value. And of course, it's about the thrill of discovery. Who would have thought that a small, round piece of metal could captivate collectors and historians alike, simply because of how well it survived? There are stories of lucky individuals who stumbled upon one of these quarters tucked away in an old drawer or hidden in a coin roll. They had no idea at first that their find was something more than pocket change. But when examined closely and graded by professionals, their simple 1979 quarter turned out to be a numismatic marvel. The moment when the coin is revealed to be an exceptionally rare, high-grade example, that's when the magic happens, and when it comes to magic in the world of rare coins, it's often sealed with a hammer at auction. All it takes is the right coin, the right collector, and the right moment. One such moment stunned the coin-collecting community when a flawless, high-grade 1979 Washington quarter was sold to an enthusiastic bidder for a staggering $115,000. Top 3. In the world of coin collecting, certain coins have a way of telling a deeper story, one that blends American history, craftsmanship, and the thrill of unexpected fortune. Among these seemingly common yet surprisingly valuable coins lies the 1971 Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, this quarter may not appear much different from the others in your pocket change. But look a little closer, and you'll uncover a coin with unique appeal, rich backstory, and the potential to turn heads in the numismatic community. The Washington quarter has been a staple in American coinage since its debut in 1932, commemorating the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by sculptor John Flanagan, the coin's obverse features a stately profile of the first U.S. president, an image that has endured for decades and become one of the most iconic portraits in American numismatics. But the 1971 edition of this classic coin marks an era of transition, challenge, and evolution at the United States Mint, coming off the turbulent 1960s and entering the new decade. The early 1970s were a time of significant change in the United States. Economically, the nation was facing inflation and evolving metal prices, which directly impacted coin production. The U.S. Mint had already made the critical decision in 1965 to eliminate silver from circulating quarters and dimes, replacing it with a clad composition of copper and nickel. The 1971 quarter, therefore, represents a fully clad issue, one that stood as a symbol of modern American minting. Millions of these quarters were struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and while they were designed for daily commerce, a small number managed to survive in remarkably pristine condition. These are the coins that capture the hearts of collectors. Most 1971 quarters were circulated heavily, showing immediate wear and dulling from everyday use. But a few were spared. Whether tucked away in original mint sets, preserved by sharp-eyed collectors, or simply forgotten in a drawer, these near-perfect examples are now among the most sought after. What makes the 1971 quarter particularly valuable isn't a dramatic minting error or a rare metal content. Instead, it's the rarity of finding one in exceptional condition, graded MS-67 or higher, combined with strong eye appeal. Collectors prize coins that show full luster, sharply defined details, and no signs of scratches, nicks, or handling. On a high-grade 1971 quarter, Washington's hairlines are crisp, the rim is bold and full, and the eagle on the reverse soars with elegant clarity. But it's not only condition that sets certain 1971 quarters apart. There are subtle anomalies and variations that add intrigue. Some collectors search for coins with strong strikes, those that show complete and defined features due to precise, clean die use. Others look for small die breaks or doubled features that can occasionally occur and increase value. Each detail adds to the unique fingerprint of the coin, making some 1971 quarters far more valuable than their face value would ever suggest. The quarter is also a cultural time capsule. The early 1970s were full of major events: the end of the Vietnam War era, the continuing civil rights movement, the beginning of the Watergate scandal, and a growing interest in space exploration. The coins minted during this period carry the weight of those years, quietly bearing witness to a transforming America. That kind of historical weight gives a coin character and a sense of legacy. Collectors today scour coin shows, auctions, and even their own change jars in the hopes of uncovering a flawless 1971 Washington quarter. It's the classic treasure hunt, searching for that one coin that has survived the passage of time untouched by circulation. When such a coin is discovered, authenticated, and graded at a top-tier level, it becomes far more than currency. It becomes a conversation piece, a symbol of perseverance, and an investment in both history and artistry. Over the years, stories have emerged of seemingly ordinary coins being found in extraordinary condition. A 1971 Washington quarter, set aside decades ago and forgotten, can suddenly re-emerge as a numismatic marvel. When collectors see these coins up close, the brilliance, the precision of strike, the lack of flaws, they recognize them as something truly special. Auction houses are well aware of this demand. When a coin like this appears on the block, bidders from around the country, and often internationally, enter fierce competition to add it to their collection. These coins do not change hands quietly. They are celebrated, catalogued, and chased by those who understand their rarity, and then comes that astonishing moment, when the final gavel falls, and a coin once worth 25 cents has been valued at a level far beyond anyone's wildest expectations. That was precisely the case when an exceptionally preserved and sharply struck 1971 Washington quarter dollar fetched an unbelievable sum at a major coin auction. It stunned collectors, dealers, and even veteran numismatists. That single quarter, preserved through the decades in a state of near perfection, commanded a jaw-dropping final price of $145,000. Top 4. In the world of numismatics, where everyday coins can transform into priceless treasures, one coin stands out not just for its age or condition, but for the powerful story it carries, etched in metal and sealed in history. That coin is the 1970 Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, it may seem ordinary, just another piece of change tossed into a jar, forgotten in the back of a drawer, or passed along in a routine transaction. But beneath its familiar exterior lies a remarkable tale, one that has captured the attention of coin collectors, historians, and treasure hunters across the nation. The Washington quarter has long been a symbol of American pride. Introduced in 1932 to honor the bicentennial of George Washington's birth, the coin quickly became a permanent fixture in U.S. currency. Sculptor John Flanagan's striking depiction of Washington's profile has adorned the quarter for decades, creating a design so iconic that it remains one of the most recognized in American history. The 1970 edition continued this proud legacy, but it emerged during a time of transformation in both American society and the mint itself. The year 1970 was a year of contrast. It was a time of social change, political unrest, and economic fluctuation. The Vietnam War was still raging, the counterculture movement was in full swing, and the U.S. Mint was adapting to new technologies and pressures from a growing coin-collecting community. The mint was shifting away from silver, focusing fully on copper-nickel-clad compositions to meet the needs of mass circulation while conserving precious metals. Yet, even within this industrial efficiency, something magical occurred. Some quarters struck in 1970 displayed anomalies, errors, and characteristics that went far beyond the average coin. These subtle differences, invisible to the untrained eye, are exactly what make some 1970 Washington quarters rare and immensely valuable today. It is in this small fraction of unusual coins where collectors find their goldmine. One of the most fascinating elements surrounding the 1970 Washington quarter is the mystery of the proof issues. Proof coins are specially minted for collectors using polished dies and planchets to produce a mirror-like finish and sharp details. But among the 1970's proof quarters, an extraordinary anomaly has made headlines: a small batch of coins believed to have been struck over Canadian quarters. These double-struck errors, showing remnants of the original foreign coin underneath the American quarter design, are so rare that they've taken on an almost legendary status among collectors. But it's not just errors or misstrikes that give the 1970 quarter its allure. Even regular strike coins, when preserved in mint condition, can be worth a fortune. Collectors seek out those elusive pieces that have survived decades without a single scratch, nick, or sign of wear. The coins with flawless luster, full strikes, and sharp details, these are the quarters that elevate from mere currency to museum-quality artifacts. Condition, rarity, and historical intrigue converge in the 1970 quarter like few other coins. With most being heavily circulated, the handful that remain in pristine state stand out like diamonds in the rough. They tell a story not just of the mint's craftsmanship, but of the coin's incredible journey, how it managed to escape the wear and tear of time to remain perfect. When such a coin surfaces at a major auction, the excitement is palpable. Collectors from around the world gather online or in grand auction halls, eyes fixed on the prize, hearts racing as the bids rise. These aren't just transactions, they're showdowns, battles for a piece of history that only one person can claim. And when that gavel finally drops, the number that appears isn't just a price, it's a statement about the value of preservation, rarity, and the enduring magic of American coinage. Over the years, collectors have found 1970 Washington quarters that look no different from any other, until closer inspection reveals that they are anything but ordinary. And among them, one quarter stood out as the pinnacle of perfection, commanding the kind of price that could change a life. This coin, a 1970 Washington quarter dollar in extraordinary condition and with unparalleled rarity, stunned the numismatic world when it sold at auction for an astounding amount. After fierce bidding and overwhelming interest from collectors and investors alike, this small piece of American history, once worth just 25 cents, achieved a value that seemed almost unbelievable. The final price paid for that exceptional 1970 Washington quarter dollar was $150,000. Top 5. Today, we journey into the fascinating story of one such coin, the 1990 Washington quarter dollar. This isn't just a piece of metal. This is history, craftsmanship, and unexpected fortune wrapped into one tiny treasure that could be hiding in plain sight. The Washington quarter has long been a staple of American currency. Since 1932, George Washington's noble profile has graced the obverse of this beloved coin, making it one of the most familiar designs in U.S. coinage. But not all quarters are created equal. Some, through a mix of perfect conditions, rare minting errors, and sheer luck, rise far above their face value. The 1990 Washington quarter is one of those coins, and its story is filled with surprising twists. To understand the allure of the 1990 Washington quarter, we must look at the context in which it was born. The early 1990s marked a transition in American society and culture, advances in technology, changes in the economy, and a renewed interest in collecting historic artifacts. The U.S. Mint was operating at full throttle to meet the nation's demand for circulating coinage. But in the process of minting millions upon millions of coins, a few slipped through the cracks of perfection. And those few are the ones that would later take the numismatic world by storm. The 1990 quarter, composed of a copper-nickel clad and struck at either the Philadelphia or Denver Mint, appears ordinary at first glance. Most people never give it a second thought. But for coin collectors and treasure hunters, it represents a symbol of hidden potential. What elevates a 1990 quarter to extraordinary status is a combination of extreme preservation, unique errors, or rare die varieties, details that most people overlook. Some 1990 quarters are known to have been struck using improperly prepared dies, leading to doubling in the design elements or weak strikes. Others might feature off-center strikes, broad strikes without reeded edges, or even coins mistakenly struck on the wrong planchets, such as those intended for foreign coins. These kinds of mint errors instantly pique the interest of seasoned collectors, and they are willing to pay handsomely for them. However, rarity is only one part of the puzzle. Condition plays an equally crucial role. Collectors place tremendous value on coins that have been preserved in pristine, mint-state condition. A quarter that has remained untouched for decades, free from scratches, wear, and signs of circulation, can dramatically outperform its average counterparts. And when a 1990 Washington quarter surfaces in near-perfect condition, it becomes a prized specimen that commands attention and admiration in the numismatic community. The quest to find such coins is part of what makes collecting so exciting. Imagine sorting through an old jar of coins, only to spot one with a gleam that seems too perfect. Imagine flipping it over and discovering a detail, a date, a mint mark, an unusual edge, that hints at something rare. That moment of discovery is what drives thousands of collectors to search tirelessly, attend coin shows, bid in auctions, and inspect every coin that passes through their hands. As word spread of high-value 1990 quarters turning up in auctions, more people began looking closely at their change. And for good reason. Not every 1990 quarter is valuable, but the ones that are, those with dramatic mint errors or near-flawless preservation, are worth far more than 25 cents. They're worth a second look, a careful examination, and for a lucky few, a small fortune. Coin auctions can be dramatic affairs. Imagine the atmosphere, Bidders on the edge of their seats, the auctioneer calling out rapid-fire numbers, and the tension building with every raise of a paddle or click of a mouse. It's in these moments that legends are made and coins find new homes in the vaults of elite collectors. And one particular 1990 Washington quarter proved just how incredible this journey can be. This coin, a shining example of what makes numismatics so thrilling, was discovered in such exceptional condition and with such striking features that it caught the eye of top-tier collectors and experts alike. After thorough authentication and grading by a leading coin certification service, it was brought to auction where it created a sensation. As the bids climbed higher and higher, it became clear that this was no ordinary coin. This was a piece of American history, preserved through time, crafted with precision, and steeped in mystery. And when the final gavel fell, the winning bid stunned even the most seasoned collectors. The astonishing price paid for this rare and immaculate 1990 Washington quarter dollar was $70,000.